Cody, Ian,
Austin.
Austin. Coaches? Joe?
I think our summer tour has finally gotten down to, we started out with a whole bunch of people in one picture, then it got smaller the next one.
Well, that's what it is. Okay, yeah, we'll choose. Okay.
Go ahead, pull it. 818 for no action.
818.
Yeah, it's a line down there. Pretty much.
818. Okay. 818.
How's your secretary today, Dave?
No action.
No action, yeah. Then I'll have superintendent report. 1303. Consider having a special meeting next week. And 10.
It's a re-entry, it's just, to discuss re-entry.
Personnel.
That's it. And 14.
Well, 1402, I don't know if you're going to discuss anything that I'm going to be talking about it in my report, so I don't know if you're going to.
And then if we have a meeting.
Yeah, we're going to special meeting.
Right, just wait about a meeting and have that, we'll get it like that, 1402, we go.
I think
1402, opening school year, about special meeting.
if you decide to have, we probably really don't. I got to be with Stacy for a minute.
So my hear all kinds of new stuff. As far as-
Good. I kind of got the preview. I think I know what's going on. So we could really take that probably off the agenda. We should get some.
Where's the other one I gave you? Will you give me another one?
Yeah, it's okay, I was gonna say.
Right.
That's it. All right.
3 and 4.
Someone's finished.
She's on.
That's what one, I guess.
Not the same.
Correct. So we just did like,
Yes.
okay. Sounds good. Anything else before we get started? Malpractice.
All right, put your glasses on, see the reason.
I can't wait to it. So ready? Josh. But Josh Jones. You're ready.
We've been ready.
Calls meeting to order Tuesday, July 27th, 2021, Mason County Board of Education, regular business meeting, agenda number 21-02 at the Mason County Board of Education office, 6 p.m. All members are present except Mrs. Bocutter. She's with us by the Teams meeting. So she is with us. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Miller. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognition. We recognize the WBSSAC 2021 AA Boys Track and Field State Champions. Congratulations, you all. What is the second time? Second time state champs. This year's been a pretty good year for all Mason County sports. You know, I mean, we've had a pretty good year. I think everybody's ready to be back in full competition with us. Hope their Olympics teams will be doing the same. Anyway, we got a certificate here, I guess, for all of them, but we'll just Recognize, I hope we got everybody that's here. Would you come up and then we'll get a picture. Austin Weichel. Congratulations. Get a picture here. You come up here behind all of you.
Oh, yeah, we'll get together.
Oh, we'll do that to Jerry.
Also, everybody.
Yeah, come up here, everybody. They don't like you, not sure I said that. Okay, Cody Schultz.
This is our state champion too.
State champion. Yeah, they got right here.
Yeah, read those two.
Congratulations. Here I go. I can get in there. Ian Wood. Congratulations. And we got one for Coach Darst. And we got Mr. Cottrell here. We'll bring you back later.
I'll bring him up.
Congratulations. Yeah, we want him up here. We just didn't have to- Come on up here. I know that couldn't be done without you. I know. Congratulations, man. Carry him through. That's what you do.
Ken, would it be easier
Hey, if we get him with football. Here,
I think I can do that.
We're going to really shut together. Here, and Paul's in front. That's a little short one. No, I didn't get no short on the road.
Okay, y'all ready?
We get them all.
Check it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We really appreciate you guys inviting us and
John.
recognizing us. Thank you very much.
Think it's all
It's an honor for you guys to do that for us. Thank you so much. We'll be back next year. Everybody on the team is back.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you didn't take short test to coach. That's all good.
I could be true.
This year, it was we don't want to mess with that. You have the same kids.
I saw that, that's exciting.
In the
I'm saying the
Olympics,
state
the United
champion,
States
yeah.
sent most of their athletes to track and field.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
So this is, you get a man bring all the records. Was he ready?
Well, we'll see how that's going to turn out. He's right now third best thrower that's ever thrown here in our school. We beat my record.
Coach, you need to catch a girl for us.
We did that, and then he's chasing Cody Mitchell, which is a big deal. It's 181 feet. He threw 159 in a meet as a sophomore. He's got two. He's still got 2 more years. He's got a chance to be a 3-time state champion, which we've never had.
No pressure, Kate.
30 feet. You know, it's fun. It's going to be fun. And great fun story is he didn't even come out when track started in March the 15th. And I talked to him, encouraged him to come out. And finally, he showed up about a week and a half after track started. He walked over to the discus ring and said, "Well, how do you throw this thing?" So I took him over to the side and just showed him some little drills. Make long story short, there we are. At the beginning of June, he's the best thrower in the state. How about that? So it goes to show you that if you want to do something, you can do it. You don't have to.
It's got some of his mom's genes right now.
I did coach his mother. Maybe she did something there to help him. I don't know.
You know.
The actress like her.
Oh, no.
He was what, third or fourth?
He was huge for us in the state meet because he come into the state meet, wasn't ranked as high as where he finished, and he come in and got third and fourth in the 300 hurdles, which put us over the top. I mean, had a huge, tremendous meet, and he's young, so we're excited for him too. He's still got 2 more years to do. So I was Chip's coach when he was state champion, so maybe we'll have another state champion.
Also, what grade are you in?
He'll be a senior. Okay. And what distance?
And also, what grade, what grade you?
He'll be a senior.
He'll be a senior.
So we got everybody. You do, like I said. You got any new coaches? You got Frank on your back. You carry him today for you.
We'll be back.
I have to tell you though, it's so much fun to go to the meetings and watch Davey and Matt and Chip figuring out exactly how many points we need to beat Winfield.
I'm supposed to do history of the school.
Oh,
They
yeah.
had it down pat, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew, and we did.
Now, did you double check the math?
Yeah. You have to check your math.
We all specialize, we match the girls and head coach, not the boys, but all four of us just pick out different events that we're good at. That's what we really specialize in. I think that's what's helped us, that the kids all really get work with that way. Anyway.
Congratulations.
See, I want to come help track me, couldn't find nothing I was good at. I didn't get specialized in that.
You're not a long time.
Well, I know you're all busy, but thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Delegations to be given. No dogs, right here. No delegations. I guess I'm supposed to give that to you. Moving on, superintendent's recommendations. Recommend the board approve the regular business meeting. I can't see that. Still can't see that. Agenda 2102 of the Mason County Board of Education, July 27, 2021, at the Mason County Board of Education, Oaks Point, Pleasant, West Virginia, for the purpose of conducting regular business. Move Mr. Billings, second Mrs. Timmon. Discussion, I know we will be pulling 818 for no action. 12, superintendent's report, and we'll pull 1303 to discuss a special meeting. Mr. Carlson, do you have anything?
I do not.
Mr. Billings? Mrs. Timmon?
No.
I have. Mrs. Bobcatter, do you have anything?
I do not.
All right, thank you. So we will be voting on everything except 818, 12, 1303.
There was one other question, 1110.
What is it? 1110. Oh, 1110. Well, you pulling it?
Yeah, I just answered that question.
Okay. And 1110. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Recommend, 1110, recommend the board approve the contract between Mason County Board of Education and Apogee Incorporated in the amount of $28,200 design and host mobile app for Mason, for the county school website for the 21-22 school year. If they didn't pull it.
Okay.
It's a consent. 502, yes.
Gotcha.
If we don't pull it, it's consent.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
that's fine.
okay. We have a motion, you to discuss the motion.
I just, the question, so give us a
I'll say that.
Get your motion. Ms. Carlson,
I didn't
second.
just pull it for,
Ms. Billings, discussion.
I was gonna say, I didn't just pull it to make you have to try to pronounce it.
Yeah, tell him not to.
I just couldn't, I had somebody ask the price difference, since this was new, and I didn't have my paperwork and couldn't find it, so I just wanted to ask that.
Yeah, currently, our current cost will increase about $3,000 per year on an annual fee. There is a startup fee of $11,200. It was $15,000. Then there's a $4,000 discount, if I remember right, that goes into effect if we sign the contract before July 30th. So that comes down to $11,000. Then there's like a $5,500 flat fee for the annual, and it's $3 per student in the county. That's the way they calculate their annual cost. I believe it was $5,500 plus 3 times 3,800. Again, I'm just going off my memory, but anyway, the annual fee that we pay is I believe $17,200, and we are currently paying for our other services. We're just short of $14,000.
Okay.
So it's about $3,000 more money. But again, what we have
Oh, well spent, yeah.
it's going to be an app that people can it's much more friendly, something that people can. The thing is, once they see it, they'll start using it. Whereas I think that the current app is one where people look at it, and if they know where to look for it, or if they got good eyes and they're willing to blow it up, they can find it. But the general public, I think, is
Oh, it's for the school
struggling
websites
with it.
too.
And it does handle all the school websites, and that also includes any training that we need. That includes a 1-year refresh. They refresh it annually for us, and all the support. So
Yep.
that's what answers that question.
Anything else? Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 12, superintendent's report.
All righty. Good evening. So, I got several things to talk to you about, because there are a lot of moving parts as we try to get ready for school. I distributed to the board some information about back to school, and what I've been working on is just a draft document. I think that might give us a starting point as we think about that. Actually, give you a couple versions that have a little bit of different language on them. I just thought it might be something that if we indeed decide to have a special meeting next week, it gives us a starting point. So we're just not starting with a blank slate. Of course, you may look at it and say, no, we don't like any of this, and you may want to start with a blank slate, but it gives us something to work from. And I think that if we can reach a point where we can distribute some information or have it ready to go out, either on the website, and also perhaps the brochures or pamphlet or whatever, that we can have it fair, I think it'd be just really helpful, clear up a lot of questions folks may have. What it does contain on here is it's basically a front and back or a two-pager, but basically it has in it 3 key points. One is, expression of what our plan would be, and then I think express what our pledge would be to the public, and then thirdly, how they can help us, how the community can help us to get the kids in school. We will know a little bit more tomorrow. I do have a meeting with the state superintendent. He's having a teams meeting with all county superintendents tomorrow. So we may need to incorporate some additional guidance that we get. I really don't think we're going to see a mask mandate. I really don't see that at all. But again, that remains to be seen, because who knows? The CDC changed its guidance today at 3 o'clock, and their recommendation is there is a recommendation for face coverings in all K through 12, not a requirement, but a recommendation for that in all K through 12 schools, regardless of vaccination status. Previously, they had talked about recommendation for those who were unvaccinated. Today, their guidance is everyone in K through 12, regardless of vaccination status. But again, it's not a requirement, it's not a mandate, it's just a recommendation. But I do want to remind folks that the CDC has stated that, even in spite of the Delta variant that's out there, they believe it's critical to get students back in school, and essentially that the risk is worth the reward because of the academic, social, and emotional losses the students are in school. So, and they encourage layered measures, mitigations to remain in place. And I think that, and when we work on this document or we get something ready to go out, I think that's one of the things we want to emphasize is that we're going to continue to, make our pledge that we're going to be cleaning schools, we're going to be cleaning buses, and ensuring, doing everything we can as far as social distancing and HVAC, fresh air, to ensure that we're providing safe as an environment as we can for students. So again, you can glance over the next few days, and if you do choose to have a special meeting next week, maybe it's a point that we start with. I think we go from there. Just a thought. So stay tuned on that, because it's ever changing, as we've all found out. I do want to mention a little about where we are with COVID in Mason County right now. I did meet with Dr. Lively and Jennifer Thomas earlier, I guess last Wednesday. We had a conversation, and good conversation as we met face to face and got to know each other and got to think about what we can do with a return to school. Do want to point out a couple things. 2 weeks ago, when we had our meeting, per the DHHR website, Mason County only had 1 confirmed case and 2 active cases. I checked it today. We now have 25 confirmed cases in the past week and 38 active cases. 2 of the cases are in students or in children 0 to 9 years old. 5 of the cases are 10 to 19. So that's basically 7 out of 25. We have moved into, if you look at the color coded map, which I think we kind of walked away from for several months ago, but if you did glance at it, we are in the gold status on that with an infection rate of 14.01, which puts us at the gold percent positivity of 5.58, which actually is in the orange. So if you look at the CDC map of community transmission, we are categorized, Mason County is categorized as substantial community transmission, as is Putnam and Cabell. Now, Jackson is a little bit lower, it's moderate. The Gallia and Meigs are rated as high. So 46% of the U.S. counties are high, and 17% are substantial. And again, Mason County is in the substantial category right at this particular time. So it does appear to be on the rise. The question is how long will this rise last, and can we be successful in getting back to school, which we all desperately want to do. We'd also mention a couple other things. Clarification on the vaccination rates a couple meetings ago, I mentioned about our vaccination rates being one of the lower in the state. And per the DHHR website, that is true. However, the vaccines that are administered across the county line do not count in our count. So anybody that crossed the bridge at Point or crossed the bridge at Mason to go over to a health facility in Ohio, that didn't count. Or if you were in the southern part of the county and you went to Huntington perhaps for a vaccine, those don't count in our numbers. And so Dr. Living advised me that the DHHR pretty much admits that they don't have a good handle on what percentage we are vaccinated in Mason County. It's just hard to know because of that. So I did want to mention that. So we're certain that the numbers, the vaccination rates are definitely higher than what shows on the DHHR website. So I just wanted to kind of bring that together. I want to give you a couple of updates on the executive summary on the ARP ESSER money, the federal money that we're getting and to support student learning and all that. As we mentioned, we're getting about $11.3 million out of that. In late June, you approved a project for the proposal that we then took to the State Department of Education for review. They gave their blessing to it and provided some input to us. Again, the department doesn't approve or deny that, but they did give us a couple of good items of feedback, but they were very pleased with what we were attempting to do. Again, in a follow-up meeting, they said what we proposed was brilliant. So very seldom you hear somebody say you were brilliant at something, so it's nice to hear that. But again, we've got so much of the money going to academic support that that's kind of where they were hoping that we could provide a lot of that money. It did have to go out on a 10-day comment period for the public. We wound up with just 3 comments, I believe. That comment period closed today at 4 o'clock, and we only had 3 comments. 2 of them were not germane to the project or to this really, and the other one wanted to make sure that we have after school programs when the school year begins. So, and that is one of the things that we had set aside some money for and included. So we're good with that. We will be submitting the grant application then tomorrow, or at least this week. It's due August 1, so we're right against it. But kudos to Kim Burris, who sits back there and is manning our feed this evening. She has done a tremendous amount of work getting this all pulled together. It's not easy. But I do want to get aware of 2 or 3 positions that we want to think about posting or have kind of in the process. One of the things that was in the original involves some additional help for finance. And so we have posted out there right now professional staff accountants. That was in the proposal that you all endorsed. They told us up front, you are going to need extra help when it comes to managing all of the federal paperwork associated with this money. The first round or 2 was a little looser, I think, when we received it. This batch of money has got a lot of monitoring and reporting that need to happen. And they told us up front, you're probably going to need a little extra help. So you are entitled to use some of the money for that. So we have that position out there posted right now. And we're casting a wide net for that. We're putting out in some newspapers a little further out, and it is being distributed that way. One of the things that I think actually a couple of other things. One thing that we need to think about is if we're going to be able to come back 5 days per week with as many kids as we have, and still try to enforce as much cleaning and distancing as possible, we probably need to think about adding a little extra custodial support out there in our schools. And we could use some extra help there, and also some help in the kitchens. You know, if we have a situation where students are eating in the classroom or whatever, you know, it's kind of hard for cooks who are used to one regimen, and then all of a sudden now we're ending to cart food around the county or around the school. That becomes a little difficult. And again, this is our first opportunity to bring everybody back together, and hopefully if we have the student population that we anticipate coming back, then we probably need to be able to provide a lot of support for custodians and cooks. So we will probably be posting for some positions with that. It's an appropriate use of the ESSER money. I can't guarantee you we're going to get many takers, you know, I mean, because we've had some difficulty trying to fill some of these positions. So, but, you know, we're going to cast it out there and hope that we can draw some people in to help with that. And while the board hasn't acted or we haven't taken anything out yet on what we're going to do on our back to school effort, one thing that we probably need to be prepared to do, and probably ought to get in front of just a little bit, is that we have to anticipate that there will probably be some medically fragile students or some students who are in some unusual circumstances where we probably need to have a virtual option available to them. Just a thought. We are considering, and I just want to get your temperature on this, posting a position for an elementary, K through 6 position, and then administer the curriculum obtained from the West Virginia Virtual School. And it would be a Mason County teacher then administering that curriculum to some elementary students. And then that person could also be serving as a facilitator for the secondary students who would be taking crash courses through West Virginia Virtual School. And that person would not be the teacher of record, but they are the facilitator and would reach out and do that. So based on a few of the phone calls or several phone calls we've been receiving, we kind of get the sense that in spite of the many, many things we're going to be trying to do, there may be some who are in a situation that it's not best. It's really, without this, their only option would be homeschool. This is a similar thing that Cabell County is doing. They're offering a virtual academy, I believe what they're calling it. But just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. Should we have something in place and get the ball rolling to get a position out there to post something so that we could then have this available? Any thoughts?
Yeah, we have some way to keep the numbers down to where everybody in the brother don't decide we want to get the virtual again. You know, it'd have to be a special circumstance where if they know 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 teachers, you know, trying to do it.
What I anticipate this being is someone who's dedicated. This is their job.
Right.
You know,
You're saying the individual, this is their job. I'm saying the students, yeah, the number of students and stuff.
Right.
Get in.
Yeah. One of the things I would suggest is that, again, when we have this conversation about return to school, I think that, you know, some students are very, very successful in virtual learning. Some students were not successful in that effort. And what I would suggest to you is that there be some criteria before students could enroll in those full-time courses, such as, you know, was there a previous experience with virtual learning? Is there connectivity to the internet? You know, and use some criteria to help ensure, you know, in some places they require, you know, some medical, something from the doctor, you know, medical statement saying that the student, you know, not be good for a student to be there. So be up to you all.
Yeah, for sure. I think there should be criteria because we had instances, from what I understand, where students never even logged in. And they did not do the work. So if they've proven that they haven't done it in the past, I don't know why we should trust them to sign up.
Right.
I don't think,
We're not educating them.
I don't think it'll be a trust issue anyway, I think it'll be a medical issue, because we're trying to get them back in school and get away from the virtual, you know what I mean? But we did you know you got some students that, like you said, in today's world, probably won't want to come back, you know, because of that.
Or because of their family members.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a risk, you know. I'm not, obviously, the option for kids to get virtual is always there anyway. So if we are able to spend some money to use someone, have a Mason County teacher that's willing to do that to maybe help them achieve a little better, because I don't know, you hear mixed reviews, I guess, as far as when kids are doing virtual just on their own or just with their parents. So we're going to have some do it, so I'm not opposed to having someone that kind of facilitates or helps if it's in the best interest of our kids that are doing it. But yes, certainly I think we would definitely have to come up with some stipulations and guidelines as to who we'd approve to be a part of that.
And I think that those are some of the topics that could be brought up if you, if you choose to have a special meeting next week, start to hammer through that and figure out, okay, if we are going to have this, here's the criteria that must be met before we would accept a student into virtual. I just wanted to be, I'm just a little concerned that there may be some who have legitimate needs out there for virtual, especially in kindergarten or kindergarten through 6. And if we don't have that available, you know, the choice will be either come to school or they will probably do homeschool.
Right.
And then they go off of our roles, and we think we can provide really, really good experience for students. And this might be a good way to manage those students if we had a Mason County teacher that was providing that instruction using the state curriculum.
I just got a couple questions real quick.
Yes, sir.
So you said the elementary one would just be Mason County. How would you decide, is there, I mean, I know we're starting around possibly, we'll say applicants, or, we're saying they've got to, we'll say apply for whatever criteria we would say they need.
All right.
So do you have like how many like a teacher can handle, like the numbers? That's something you can look at, or?
It's something we would honestly have to look at. I do know that some virtual teachers, frankly, are not virtual teachers, they're teachers of virtual classes, but you know, they have dozens and dozens of students. I'm not sure there's, I can check on that and see if there's a magic number or some, some magic numbers how they handle. Of course, the other thing, and the other thing is as well, you know, if you're talking about K through 6, you know, I mean, and the same teacher would be dealing with all those students, trying to figure out, so what is an appropriate number? So yeah, we can do a little research on that.
We have like you just said, a lot of K through 6 might be tough, okay? How do you teach that?
I just would want someone to apply and then be bombarded, which of course we have the restrictions, and then be burned out or not.
And maybe we could do a primary and an intermediate.
And it may be such that if the demand would be such, you know, you may have to add another position to handle that. But we just felt like there's probably going to be justification for at least one. So maybe we ought to post a position and try and get somebody, you know, and get that in the pipeline. Because if that's the way we go, if that's your recommendation to me, that we go ahead and post something like that. If we were to post it tomorrow, it probably wouldn't come down 5 business days, show it about next Tuesday. We could probably have somebody employed then at your August 10th meeting, and then the kids come back August 19th. So, you know, if we were to employ somebody at the August 10th meeting, then during the August 16th meeting, when the 200-day employees start coming back, they would have those 2 or 3 days of prep time to start to get acquainted with the technology, the curriculum, what's going to be going on in their class list, and then hopefully by the 19th, when the students are officially back in school, then these students can also be enrolled. Yes, sir.
Who will that employee report to? Who will be over that?
I envision them reporting here and working from this building. Probably have to. I assume, Dr. Bond, are you on?
I am.
That sounds like something that probably, since your curriculum instruction, probably be to you.
I would envision that,
And then last thing, to me, if we do start, or would come out to offer it, it works out. I expect we sign out the whole year thing, it's not stop and go or any of that.
You know, that's something that you need to think about next week. When we've had that discussion internally as to, yeah, I know that once you, especially like on the secondary virtual classes, you know, it's very, very difficult to bail out a class once that gets rolling. I mean, you know, it's a real challenge. Elementary might be a little easier to do, but yet just the management of it within a school
And
of
the effect on the teachers.
absolutely, yes. So I mean, I think those are things that we bounced around internally, and there's definitely conversations you need to have when you start to go find, you get down to the weeds on it.
What is the deadline for students to enroll in Western University?
I don't know the answer to that. I can check on that.
For this upcoming school year,
Yes, sir.
there has not been one set as of yet, to my knowledge. They generally set that, well, in years past, pre-pandemic, it was like September the 10th as we move forward for a regular school year. Last year, it was much longer than that because of everybody moving in and out. And I don't believe that this year's deadline for enrollment has been set yet.
That'd be very easy for me to find out.
Right. I was just thinking, I mean, obviously, we don't want to be behind the ball if that's something we're doing, but I was thinking, and it probably obviously wouldn't happen, but we hired someone as soon as early August and then only have, what if nobody? I mean, let's just, what if nobody, and then we have a teacher employed for nothing, basically, I guess. So I was just wondering, deadline wise.
And we'd also, Dr. Bond and I talked earlier today about, you know, what kind of timeline would we have for registration, for, you know, that sort of thing. So, a lot to kick around with this, but I would rather be ahead on this one than behind on it, because I just kind of sense that there might be some need out there. Anyway, so if you're blessing, we'll go ahead and post something, get something in the pipeline. But again, you know, I want people to understand, I really believe the best opportunity for these students is to get back where, you know, in school. We need to see students. It's better for most of them, you know, academically, socially, and emotionally as well. Again, many students have been successful at this, and there's some great stories about students who have been successful with virtual, but a lot of kids were not ready for it this past year. It was thrust upon them, and honestly, everybody was just doing the best they could to try to keep some form of learning going on. So it's hard to be critical of anybody who's. Yes, ma'am.
Along these lines, I've been curious, throughout the year, we would have, Dr. Bond would give us periodic reports about how students were achieving or not achieving. And we were kind of worried all year long about a lot of retention. But then as the year ended, we didn't get a report on, I mean, was retention a problem for us? I kind of like to know, like, how each school, how many retentions did we have? And how many of those retentions were virtual students who did not keep up or whatever. Like I had a friend in Texas, and they said, regardless whether the student didn't do anything at all, they did not allow any retentions whatsoever in their school system, which could be difficult because then if they're thrust into a grade level without being properly prepared, I was just wondering if maybe we could get updated sometime, so we have some idea of, you know, how many retentions we actually did have. Were retentions a problem, or were we very lax on it and let them go ahead anyway? I don't know how we stand on that. You know, we got periodic reports of how things were going, but yet we didn't get any finalized.
Dr. Bond, you probably have that information for the board, can't you?
I can get that to them. It will be the August 10th meeting before I can get it out.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Very good. Okay, a couple other things I wanted to mention to you. We have been having some HVAC issues at Point Pleasant Intermediate, but repairs are on the way, and they should happen, I think, later this week, and well before teachers return. So, have a chiller, I think, that's having some issues. Also, finally, I want to mention that this is a couple of things. It's a very busy time. You know, I'm sure a lot of people think that summertime is a real relaxed and easygoing time at the board office, but it's just not true. We've been busy filling positions and trying to get some trainings arranged and just really preparing for the return to school in this really challenging year. Did want to mention Thursday I'll be attending a meeting in Charleston, West Virginia Department of Education, had a school counseling advisory committee meeting. I serve on that committee. I don't have a counseling background, but they kind of like having a set of eyes, you know, representing superintendents to see and to contribute on that. So we've had a few online meetings, now we've done there for a face-to-face meeting as we try to align the state standards more closely with some of the national standards. So we've had some good meetings online. Next week is the Administrative Academy, where we'll be having the principals and assistant principals in here. That is on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, August 4, 5, and 6. Wednesday is a really interesting day. You're welcome to attend any and all if you so choose. Just give you some heads up what's going on. August the 4th is a full day presentation by Rick Boothby from Bowles Rice. There's a lot of legislation that went through and a lot of legal concerns the boards need to be considering. So he will be with the principals and assistant principals all day on August 4th. August 5th, which is Thursday, we have Rich Smith from Solution Tree talking about effective professional learning communities. And then on Friday the 6th, we'll be having some policy updates for the staff and so forth. I would mention that we found a new way to offer this policy training, this mandatory training that everybody has to go through every year, like things like FERPA and mandatory reporting and things like that. We found a new way to do that through Vector Solutions, and basically it's a lot of interactive modules where all staff members will log in. There are things there's some videos, there are quizzes, some interactive things. So really, probably at least 3/4, maybe 80%, 85% of what we're doing now is through that. So we have just some very limited talking head time, you know, where we have to have some conversations. We are doing some of that on Friday, but a lot of that, you know, with the principals, and then they would have to do that with their staff. But frankly, a lot of it will be done as people sit down, log in, it keeps track of which modules they've completed, you know, and it's a good recording measure. So we've got that. And of course, week after that is Mason County Fair, and we're going to have a real strong presence at the fair, a real strong representation. Some individuals from the county office and also from the schools will be there Monday through Friday with some games and prizes, and we'll be doing some reading to some students throughout the day. And we feel like it's going to be a real good place to answer questions and distribute information about, you know, what's going to be like this year. You know, are we coming back? Are we coming back 5 days a week and all that? So anyway, that's kind of summarizes my report.
I'm saying the fair will be a busy week for questions.
I'm sure it will be. Yeah,
I
sure.
love that there's gonna be somebody up there Monday through Friday too. Like,
Yeah, we're really excited about it. And again, Ms. Burris has put a lot of effort into organizing that, I believe. So, kudos.
Well, we'll give that to Miss Anita. She's taking the ball and telling us what to do.
She really has. And so, I mean, they're putting together a schedule of what kind of things we're going to be doing. Basically, fun activities for kids, also, like I said, being reading to students. I think we'll be in a cool room or near a cool room in the building. So
that's a good thing.
that's also a good thing here in Fairway. We can all agree to that. So that kind of wraps up what I had to say.
Mr. Trevor,
Yes, sir.
I know you're going to a meeting tomorrow at the state level. Or maybe you've heard about this. I've seen it in the paper, plus I attended the meeting over the weekend, the School Board Association.
Okay.
It come out that for athletics, the 2.0 was being waived for the winter sports. If you, it's supposed to have been voted on by the school board, the State School Board Association, or not the State School Board. If you have anything.
I don't have anything on that, but I remember seeing that mentioned.
Yeah, especially, maybe they have.
It will be voted on August the 11th. That's waiting for the summer practice. It'll be voted on August the 11th at the state board meeting.
For all schools?
For waiving the 2-0 for fall sports.
I got you to check.
I had seen that, but I didn't have any details on
And then the last thing, like I said, I attended that meeting and, there's probably 15 different members from different counties. Several of them, of course, ask you who our new superintendent is. Several of them know you from different, various jobs that you've held, throughout your career, and got nothing but good feedback, so definitely reassures. I think Mason County is, we're in good hands, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good.
Moving on, anything else? Moving on, 1303, recommend the board schedule a special meeting, date, time during the week of August 2nd through 6th, 2021, for personnel matters and the opening of school for the 2021-22 school year. Ms. Carlson? I'll second it. Discussion? How do y'all feel about a meeting, a special meeting? I think it would be good to have a special meeting, to have a meeting next week.
That's a schedule. So now we look at Jared's work schedule.
And just look at your schedules, and see what.
What days we can't have, or we have, I mean, you're having stuff out here that we.
We're having,
Fourth, fifth.
we are having meetings 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
And the
During
third.
day.
I'll do it during the day, or we can do it evening.
And the 3rd.
And you have meetings.
Yeah, during the day.
Well, this will be an open meeting, I mean.
Yeah.
Unless you feel, something comes up, we need to discuss personnel or something behind the scenes, but for opening school, I don't think we really need it.
Monday, Tuesday.
Mrs. Bowcutter, do you have an opening schedule or anything for next week, or for next week?
The only thing I have, I'll be traveling back on Monday, so if it can be any other day but Monday, I should be good.
Or we can Tuesday evening, just.
Tuesday evening would be
Tuesday
fine
evening.
for me, but that's
It's good for me.
a normal board meeting time.
Tuesday evening 6.
Tuesday is good.
Tuesday at 6, would that be okay, Megan?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Tuesday, August 3rd.
Ask everybody okay that? Yeah, I'll make a motion to then add a meeting, you said it's August 6th?
August 3rd.
August 3rd. Tuesday, August 3rd at 6 p.m., a special meeting for,
I'll second.
we got a second, Mrs. Carlson. Discussion, looking there, I'm lost here. There it is. Special meeting.
The 3rd.
August 3rd, 6 p.m.
Remember that time I got you a planner?
I've got a planner here, somebody took a planner. I had one. Hey, is everybody, okay, we got a motion and a 2-second, Ms. Coleman seconded. Discussion, we will, if we're voting to amend, add meeting August 3rd, 6 p.m. All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. Main motion, recommend the board schedule a special meeting Tuesday, August 3rd, 6 p.m. for personnel matters and opening of school for the 2021-22 school year. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0.
Incidentally, the answer to your question about the date or when we take enrollments, local level decision, the state virtual school accepts enrollments all year, throughout the year. So it's
I thought last year they did.
it might have been a local decision as far as whether.
Okay, it was going out, look.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we was told he couldn't get in after a certain whatever.
They can receive good information from somebody out there in the world that's watching.
There you go.
We take enrollments all year.
Recommend the board adjourn regular business meeting, agenda 21-02, July 27th, 2021, the Mason County Board of Education held at the Mason County Board of Education, Office Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second, Mrs. Dawson, Mrs. Tennant. Discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, motion passes 5-0. We are out at 6:51.